Humans are social beings. We can't help it. It's literally how our brains are wired. Having a social life is so important for us. But what about the times that we can't? What about the times that we have to be alone? What then? Hi, welcome. I'm Jess. Growing up as an only child left me with so much free time that ideally would be spent with siblings, but I don't have those. So I had to figure out what to do with my free time. I had to figure out how to be alone, but not lonely. Don't get me wrong, I had my mom to talk to, but that still left me with a lot of free time on my hands. I think I've pretty much hacked the art of being alone, and it's not as complicated as you think, so let's get into it. Now, the first step is learning to love yourself. It sounds pretty cliche, I know, but let's look at this a little more logically. When you spend time alone, you are with yourself. If you don't love yourself, you would not want to be with yourself. I don't think anyone usually wants to spend time around people they don't love or they don't like. We can turn it down to like, right? We can say, learn to like yourself. If you actually like yourself or love yourself, you would want to spend more time with yourself. It goes for other people, so it also goes for you. I was editing this video and I just realized I pretty much said, hey, go learn how to love yourself. I didn't really even explain what to do to be able to love yourself. And to be honest, it's something that if I try to explain would end up taking up most of this video, and we don't want that. So I'll keep it short. Based on personal experience, I'd say try affirmations, try introspection, try telling yourself positive things. I also think introspection is a good way of learning to love yourself because you get to look deep into who you are, know exactly what you want to change about yourself, what you want to keep about yourself, what you want to improve about yourself. And it's such a beautiful way of realizing that, hey, you're just human, you're going to make mistakes, but there's always room for improvement and you should always be ready for that improvement. And I think that is like the basis or like a foundation for learning to love yourself. The next thing I would say is finding hobbies that you genuinely like. When I was much younger, I used to love to read. Oh my God, I would read everything that passed me by. Now, as an adult, I don't really read a lot. And if I'm being completely honest, when I stopped reading, I feel like the quality of my alone time drastically dropped. And it was because I had taken away something I loved doing and filled it up with other things that I thought were necessary, which wasn't a bad thing altogether, but I could have still created time for something I love doing, like reading. And at some point, I chalked it up to, hey, maybe I've just lost the interest in reading. Maybe it's no longer my jam, but it is still my jam because a few times I try to read again, I'm like, you know what, I really used to love this thing. Why don't I do it anymore? And I feel like a lot of adults, sometimes you need to take a step back and think of the things you used to do that made you happy and try them out again. So what is happening now is me making a full circle back to the things I used to love, because I remember how happy I used to be in my alone time when I had those things to do. It's a whole process to get back to like that level of, what I call it, zen that I had then, but like, ooh, I just rhymed. But what I'm trying to say is sometimes you need to rediscover your hobbies or discover new ones. It's going to make your alone time so much more pleasant, so much more enjoyable. Trust me. The next thing I would say you should do is embrace the boredom. There are some times that you will run out of things to do. Boredom is normal, and sometimes boredom is essential because sometimes you actually just need to sit, lie down, whatever position is comfortable for you, close your eyes and relax. Every single day you should have a time that you just sit back and relax and think of nothing. Meditate, sleep, take a nap. Embrace the quiet, embrace the silence. You know, it's not every time that you have to fill it up with something. Sometimes silence is just silence. Quiet is just quiet. So embrace it when it comes. I think another very important thing is knowing when to reach out. And I know we're talking about being alone and all. I also have to put into consideration that sometimes you wanting to be alone may not just be like, oh, I think I need some me time. Sometimes it's like you're going through certain stuff, you're having a bad time and you just don't want to be around anybody. And I also need to consider the fact that sometimes being alone with your thoughts in that moment could be a little destructive because your mind is spiraling on its own, and at that point is where you should reach out to somebody, a close friend, a trusted family member, somebody that really has your best interest at heart, or your therapist if you have a therapist. And this leads me to my next point, which is having a great support system. Scratch that, having a quality support system. There's a difference between having a bunch of friends. Having 500 friends is not the point. It's about having actual people that you can call in times of need, people that would always be there for you, people that would listen to you, people that would advise you. When you can't handle things on your own, you can always reach out to your support system. You can always reach out to that friend of yours, that family member of yours. The quality of your friendships really matter, because if you have a lot of shallow friends, then spending alone time and spending time with them wouldn't be so much of a difference. It's possible to feel alone among people or in the midst of people. Another thing I want to talk about is environment. Sometimes when you want to be alone, I think it's really important where you spend your alone time. It's important that where you spend your alone time is a place where you feel comfortable. It's a place where you feel at peace. It's a place where you feel serene. Spending alone time in a noisy place or a place that you're uncomfortable in, it's not really going to make the experience worth your time. Me, for instance, most of my alone time is spent here in my room, and I've made it conducive for me in a way that I wake up and I feel glad to be here. I did a room makeover sometime in 2020, and since then I can tell you categorically that me spending time in this room is way more appealing to me now than it was before I did that room makeover. It gives me that peace of mind. You should always have a place where you go to have that peace of mind when you want to be alone. The environment really matters. I really hope that I was able to help somebody, even if it was just one person, figure out this whole being alone and not lonely thing. It's something that I think everybody should do, regardless of your personality type. I'm an introvert, so being alone is not new to me. I always want to be, okay, maybe not always want to be alone, but mostly want to be alone. Sometimes you may need some peace and quiet, or sometimes you may be forced to have that peace and quiet. And this is the best way that I personally know how to. I'm not claiming to be some expert or anything. This is just all based on personal experience. I really wish you the best in your journey of exploring your alone time and getting to enjoy your time with yourself. I hope that my tips help you in some kind of way, hopefully. And a little bit of self-promo here. I have other videos that you could watch on your screen right now, so do watch them, and I will see you in my next one. Adios.